Hey, Jason Hunsucker here, Gillum Meeson Associates, Securities America Advisors. With the recent market volatility that we've been experiencing, I've gotten some questions from clients, and so I just want to take a couple of minutes to talk through a couple of items with you. All that's going on has reminded me of an article that I read recently that delineated the difference between an investor and a speculator, and I found that article to be helpful, and so I want to share a couple of takeaways from the article with you. Mainly what I want to focus on is the investor side. And so I've titled this video, We Are Investors, because I want to take the next couple of minutes just to remind you what it is that we have engaged in as investors. And so I want to do that in two ways. First of all, I want to focus on the what. What is investing? And I'm going to do that obviously from a very general perspective, but I hope a helpful perspective. And then secondly, I want to take just a second and focus on the how. How is it that we go about accomplishing the objective of investing? And so first of all, the what. All I've done is I've gone out and I've looked at a couple of different definitions of what an investment is and what an investor is. And the most helpful one that I found came from Investopedia. You could look it up yourself, but it basically says something to the effect of an investment is the commitment of capital or resources or money to an endeavor or a product or a company with the expectation of future profits or income. Right? So one more time, it's the commitment of capital to an endeavor or a company or a product with the expectation of future profit or income. And so there's three things that I want to focus on in that definition to remind us of what it means to be an investor. The first one is that word commitment. An investment is the commitment of capital. And that's really what we've done, right? We have made a commitment with some portion of our capital. One of the things I want to remind you of is that we haven't made a commitment with all of our capital, right? As prudent investors, what we've done is we've segregated our capital, if you will, and so we have some that we have reserved for, let's say, emergencies, right? Most of us have an emergency fund, and so we've set aside some of our capital for unexpected events that are certainly going to come up sooner or later. We've also set aside some of our capital just for our daily lifestyles, right? Our day-to-day, month-to-month needs. Maybe we've set aside some capital for large expenses that may arise or that we are expecting. And then we've set aside some of our capital, we've committed some of our capital for long-term investing. And so that word commitment is important for us to remember in a time like this because, you know, commitment isn't really required when things are going really well, is it? If you're content and you're happy and you're comfortable, well, that doesn't take a lot of commitment. It's when times are tough that we really need to consider what it is that we're doing and remind ourselves that we have made some commitment and remind ourselves why we've made that commitment and what it is that we're hoping to achieve. And this is one of those times. And so remember that commitment that you've made. The second word that I want to focus on is the word expectation. And I really like this word because expectation to me is kind of gives a sense of hope. Right? Because it points us to the future. We don't have an expectation about something that's already happened. We don't really have expectations about things that are happening currently, but we have expectations about something that is going to happen in the future. And so this definition helps us to remember that our investments now are about an expectation for something that we want to accomplish in the future. And then the last thing I want to focus on is those words profit or income at the end. And all I want to say about that is that if we don't stay committed, if we lose that sense of expectation that we have and we withdraw from the investments that we have or we don't remain committed, then we'll never achieve the profit or the income that we set out to achieve in the first place. So really that's it. That's the what of investing. Now I want to take just a second to focus on the how, because we have a very specific process here as to how we go about accomplishing these objectives. And so as my clients, you know that we have spent a significant amount of time preparing the portfolio that you have. And the way that we've done that is we've focused on three things. And I'm not going to dig into them here, but I just want to remind you of what those three things are. We've spent a lot of time focusing on what your goals and objectives are. Why are you investing, and what is it that you want to accomplish? The second thing we focus on is your time horizon. When do you want to accomplish those goals and objectives? Do you have just a few years? Are they now? Or are they sometime in the more distant future? And then lastly, how much risk can you tolerate, your risk tolerance level? And so we've taken those things, your goals and objectives, your time horizon, and your risk tolerance, and we've used them to build a portfolio that can withstand market volatility. See, the one thing that we know about the market is that it goes up and it goes down. We don't necessarily know when that's going to happen. In the recent past, the market has done really well, and it hasn't taken a lot of commitment to stick in there. You've been able to maintain your expectation of future profit or income because things have been going well. But recently, there's been a lot of volatility, and so we've had to remain much more committed. But we built a portfolio based on your goals and objectives, based on your time horizon, and based on your risk tolerance that can withstand both the good and the bad. And that is the point of this video. I simply want to remind you that we've done the work in the past in preparation for times such as these. Now, if you watch this video and you say, you know, I understand that, and I know that we did that work, and I remember doing that work, but when I look at my statements or when I watch the news, I just feel a lot of anxiety. I feel very uncomfortable. I feel like my assets are at risk. Then what I want to say to you is let's talk about that because I don't want you to feel that way. And so one of the things you can do is just click on the reply button to this email that we've sent you and let me know that. And we'll set up a time to talk, and we'll dig into how you're feeling and determine if there are some changes that need to be made because certainly that's necessary. However, for the rest of you, I hope this video just serves as that reminder that we're investors. And as investors, we've made a commitment with some portion of our assets to some companies or products or to an endeavor with this expectation that over time we will realize profit or income from those investments. Now, at the beginning of this video, I mentioned an article. And so what I've done is I've linked that article to this email, and I encourage you to click on that and to read that article because I think it's really helpful and it's really insightful, and it will help you think more deeply about your investments and your role as an investor. So until we have a chance to talk again, take care.